So Zero Skull says Brian Greene is a charlatan. Thank you, Zero Skull. I appreciate that.
So it's Halloween. I've just finished the short animation sequence from Dreams in the Witch House by HP Lovecraft. It's not nearly as full as I want it to be, but I'm still working on it. I plan to have another copy ready to go, or a much longer version, hopefully a complete version, by May Eve, which is April 31st, April 30th. April does not have a 31. So you might want to subscribe to this if you want to see that. I'm going to get back to work on Time for Recess, which I put aside to work on this, and then I had all kinds of wild and exciting stuff happen to me, which I won't talk about, but it totally took up a lot of my time, and I wasn't able to get much done on this. And I'm going to finish working on Time for Recess, and once that's done, I'm going to get back to work on Dreams in the Witch House, and then I'm going to do Pointless Mind Dribble of Andrew Warden. Then I'm going to do the Cow Pies story, or animate the Cow Pies movie. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoy this thing.
Whether the dreams brought on the fever or the fever brought on the dreams, Walter Gilman did not know. Possibly Gilman ought not to have studied so hard. Non-Euclidean calculus and quantum physics are enough to stretch any brain. And when one mixes them with folklore and tries to trace a strange background of multidimensional reality behind the ghoulish hints of the Gothic tales and the wild whispers of the chimney-corner, one can hardly expect to be wholly free from mental tension. The touch of brain fever in dreams began early in February. The dreams were wholly beyond the pale of sanity, and Gilman felt that they must be the result jointly of his studies in mathematics and in folklore. He had been thinking too much about the vague regions which his formulae told him must lie beyond the 3 dimensions we know. Gilman's dreams consisted largely in plunges through limitless abysses of inexplicably colored twilight and bafflingly disordered sound. Abysses whose material and gravitational properties and whose relation to his own entity he could not even begin to explain. He did not walk or climb, fly or swim, crawl or wriggle, yet always experienced a mode of motion partly voluntary and partly involuntary. Of his own condition he could not well judge, for sight of his arms, legs, and torso seemed always cut off by some odd disarrangement of perspective, but he felt that his physical organization and faculties were somehow marvelously transmuted and obliquely projected, though not without a certain grotesque relationship to his normal proportions and properties. The abysses were by no means vacant, being crowded with indescribably angled masses of alien-hued substance, some of which appeared to be organic while others seemed inorganic. A few of the organic objects tended to awake vague memories in the back of his mind, though he could form no conscious idea of what they mockingly resembled or suggested. In the later dreams he began to distinguish separate categories into which the organic objects appeared to be divided, and which seemed to involve, in each case, a radically different species of conduct pattern and basic motivation. Of these categories, one seemed to him to include objects slightly less illogical and irrelevant in their motions than the members of the other categories. All the objects, organic and inorganic alike, were totally beyond description or even comprehension. Gilman sometimes compared the inorganic masses to prisms, labyrinths, clusters of cubes and planes, and cyclopean buildings, and the organic things struck him variously as groups of bubbles, octopi, centipedes, living Hindu idols, and intricate arabesques roused into a kind of Ophidian animation. Everything he saw was unspeakably menacing and horrible, and whenever one of the organic entities appeared by its motions to be noticing him, he felt a stark, hideous fright, which generally jolted him awake. Of how the organic entities moved, he could tell no more than how he moved himself. In time, he observed a further mystery, the tendency of certain entities to appear suddenly out of empty space, or to disappear totally with equal suddenness. The shrieking, roaring confusion of sound which permeated the abysses was past all analysis as to pitch, timbre, or rhythm, but seemed to be synchronous with vague visual changes in all the indefinite objects, organic and inorganic alike. Gilman had a constant sense of dread that it might rise to some unbearable degree of intensity during one or another of its obscure, relentlessly inevitable fluctuations.
Well, that's over with. I guess goodbye. I'm gonna be doing more animation, sharper animation, working on Time for Recess. You can find a short trailer for that in my, I'll put it in the description. I can do that. I'll put a link in the description to the trailer for Time for Pi. I'm also going to be working on some other animation projects and just doing the regular show. If you enjoyed this and think you'd probably want to see more stuff like that, go ahead and subscribe. If you liked it, you can go ahead and give it a like. If you know someone who you think might want to see that, you can share it with them. And if you have anything to say about it, you can go ahead and leave a comment. All right. That's, this was just a micro show.
So Zero Skull says Brian Greene is a charlatan. Thank you, Zero Skull. I appreciate that.
Brian Greene's story of this nigga Brian,